This example will walk you through creating a LiveView. Open up Trackster and go to Tools, LiveView Designer. The LiveView Designer program will open up and a blank LiveView will appear on the screen. Over here we have the palettes, and over here is the working area for the LiveView. So click the General palette, and let's add a chemical drum to the LiveView. I click and drag the image over. Now if you scroll down the General palette, you'll see a tower image. Click and drag that over to the LiveView. Now let's add a couple sensors to the LiveView by going to the Sensors palette. We'll click this blue image here, and we'll click and drag a red sensor over here. And we can add a meters image. Add a flow switch by going to the Contacts palette. And we need our chemical pump for our chemical drum. And now we can align these sensors here by clicking and dragging both of them, and go to Format, Align Tops. At this point we have all of our images on our LiveView, and we can click and drag the images to tweak it the way we like, the locations of all of our stuff, to make it fit the screen or whatever. Now the important part, we need to bind these images to I/O locations. What that means is, for example, if this sensor image here, if you wanted it to represent your pH sensor that's connected to your multiplex, you'd have to bind it to the analog sensor input that the pH sensor is installed on. So for example, if your pH sensor is on input location D, you'd right click on this sensor and bind it to D. And if this was an ORP sensor and your ORP was installed on input E, then bind this image to input E. And this flow switch, let's say it's installed on digital input T. And let's just say that this meter is installed on input location O. And the relay or the chemical pump is on relay 1. Now we want to add some data labels. So go back to the General palette, scroll to the top, and these I/O data labels, if you click and drag them onto the LiveView, put them next to your images. And what this will do, when you're connected to the controller, it will display the correct information for the I/O that you bind the label to. So for example, I want to bind this data label to relay number 1 because I want it to show this chemical pump's information, its name, its location, any control equation that it may have, its on-off state, and what the status is, whether it's interlocked or blocked, etc. So go around and start binding your data labels to the correct I/O location. And that way when you're connected to the controller, you can see some textual information that will be more helpful for you than just seeing a basic icon or image. Okay, so what we've done, we've added our images and we've bound each image to the correct I/O location. Then we added the data labels and bound those guys to the correct I/O locations. Now we're ready to start piping. If you notice, you see the icons all have triangles around them. Those are called ports. If you put your mouse over the port, your cursor will turn into a hand. That means if you click and start dragging, a pipe will start being drawn. So let's start drawing some pipes by clicking and dragging from port to port. There we go, we have some pipes now, and so for good measure we're just going to add an annotation label. So in the General tab, scroll to the top, select the annotation label, drag it over to your LiveView, click inside of it and type in whatever text you wish. So now we're done with our drawing our live view. All we need to do now is save it. So you can go to File, Save Live View, and we can save it under a name. Let's call it Sample Live View, and just click the Save button. And there you go. You've just created and saved your first live view.